नाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Om. May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed in my consciousness. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true divine self as a spark of light in our heart. Let us concentrate on that. I am this pure light, the light of consciousness. As I concentrate on it, I see the whole body is enveloped in that bright, beautiful light. I am light. That light spreads all around, pervades the whole universe. All names and forms are dissolved in this infinite ocean of luminosity. Like the ice cubes melting into water. Everything is a uniform, continuous whole. No time and space. I am this infinite. in this true identity. I am bliss itself. I am ever free. What can bind me? Om. Peace, peace, peace. So dear friends, let us begin today's discussion on this very special biography of Sri Ramakrishna with our usual chant. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते भूरिदा जनाः. In this biography of Sri Ramakrishna, which brings before us not only the facts, physical facts of Sri Ramakrishna's life, like when was he born, which place was he born, who were his parents, and so forth, which places he lived, and who were his disciples. These facts are there, but more importantly, as the author himself has mentioned, it is the inner workings of this divine mind that is being depicted, because it is through that force provided the motivation for these actions, and without getting a glimpse of those motivations, it will be impossible for anyone to get the meaning or any understanding of the external facts. The external facts, they mean something only when seen in the context of the inner workings. So, therefore, this is true with everyone, but specially true with the divine incarnation, because that is a very special manifestation. For ordinary human beings like us, we, when see their actions, by looking at the actions, we can get an idea of what the intentions are, because we all have a very similar type of motivation behind our actions. Like I feel hungry, and that hunger manifests as my going for food, and I eat it. So when somebody sees me eating, then I would see that, well, I must be hungry. When somebody sees that I am fighting with somebody, then automatic conclusion, well, I must be angry or upset with something. So, our motivations are kind of derivable from our actions. But with Sri Ramakrishna, it is a completely different story. There is no selfish motive whatsoever. We all have the feeling that I want to achieve something in life. There is a desire, and that desire motivates the thought process, and then that further gets expressed in our external actions. This is true with us, that I want something in life. I have an idea that if I get something, then I will get happiness, and therefore I go for that. But imagine you don't have to achieve anything in life. Everything has been achieved. Now, the only purpose here is to educate others, to tell this truth to others. And therefore the whole action, play of actions is like play. It is like a stage show. In the stage show, a person is acting without whatever motivations that acting in that play, that person actually doesn't have any of those motivations. Like in a play, it would be depicted that yes, this person wants to get this kingdom and is acting with all that intention. But actually that person knows that it is just a play. At the end of it, he is not going to get anything, maybe some fame or some remuneration for that acting. That's about it. So, that is the nature of the assumed identity, that Sri Ramakrishna is divine and assuming the role of a human being. And so he can go up and down in all strata of human experience and the possibilities of human experience. This chapter is for describing that, so titled as Discourse on Bhava, Samadhi and Darshana. We were reading a bit this thing from page 425, that how the various experiences come to us as our awareness changes. It is described that how the spiritual evolution takes place is figuratively described as the rising of Kundalini. Most of us have heard this word, Kundalini, rising of Kundalini. Kundalini awakens, and then our awareness about ourselves and the world correspondingly changes. This is called spiritual evolution. There is the evolution on the physical plane as expressed by Darwin's this evolution of species, which is all right. It is kind of a horizontal evolution, that only the physical states are described and the principles are also laid down on that level. And like the struggle for existence, we want to exist, but and also proliferation. It is procreation, That is the other motive that is shown there for the change of species, how the species change. That is the physical evolution. But then the meaning of existence is another thing. The meaning of what is meant by I, what is actually my connection with what I see, what do I mean by living, and all those questions, they force a being to rise higher and higher. This is the vertical evolution. If we want to give a sense of what happens, is this, that as is my consciousness as to who am I, my world changes accordingly. It is, suppose, like you know that I am aware that I am Swami Yogatmananda, and this is Tuesday evening and I have to give a class at 7:30. Also today is a very auspicious day, Mahalaya, where it is the considered Mahalaya means the whole universe as it were dissolves into its primordial cause. Everything goes back into its essence. So that is why it is called Mahalaya. So it is not that it happens as such, but to remind us that there is the dissolution of this universe. This day is observed that you can, the primordial creative power that alone then is. It also is the birth anniversary of Swami Akhandananda. So being aware of this, we perform certain actions. So I come here with the book. Yes, I have to give a class on this book. I come down here from my room and I speak to you about it. That is the action dictated by my awareness that I am this particular person. Now imagine, if I am seeing a dream in which, say, I see that I am a butterfly. Now I will be just hopping from flower to flower there because my awareness is different, and so I will think of myself as butterfly. I will have a different body in the dream. We don't have the same body in the dream. In the dream, you can see, this physical body is lying on the bed, and then in the dream, you have all different perceptions. It is very confusing, as that famous Taoist philosopher Zhuangzi, he mentions that, well, in the dream, he exactly had similar dream as he describes, that I became a butterfly in the dream. And then, after he woke up, he had a thought, which is very legitimate and logical thought, that am I a human being and was having a dream as a butterfly, I am a butterfly, or I am a butterfly and I am having a dream that I am a human being. It is difficult to say. The two states are similar. What I mean here is that our awareness of who am I changes, and according to our awareness, our actions proceed. So there are various planes, and one can rise. The rising is why it is called rising, because the successive planes include the previous planes. That is why it is an enhancement. That as you rise higher, the other plane, the lower plane, gets included in the higher plane. The contradictions and confusions in the lower plane, they find a resolution in the higher plane. So that is how one goes higher and higher, And Sri Ramakrishna describes specially from that human plane where this spiritual awareness becomes prominent. The question, who am I, assumes supreme prominence. That what I get to eat and where do I live and how much money I make, those questions then become secondary. Who am I becomes the primary urge, primary question. And there a real difference between the human and animal manifest. Other things, up to that level, there is of course the difference starts manifesting on the material plane even as the Kundalini is shown to rise at the level of navel, where you see the manifestations of different arts and sciences, and they accordingly utilizing the nature for happiness and so forth, for comfortable life, for the mastery, for the power, for the governance and so forth. But that is still identification with body, with a piece of flesh, blood, etc., some matter, and I identify that I am that matter. Do you see this, Tommy? And that I identify that I am this piece of flesh and blood. Is it right, Punita? That it is, I may be a big intellectual, but my awareness, in spite of that intellectual prowess, remains the same. I am this body. And that is why, in spite of all other stupendous achievements of science and art, we are still animals, nothing more than that. But then a question starts making rounds more and more intensely. Who am I? What is really this connection between this I and the world? Again and again we get the glimpse of our non-corporeal reality, that I am not this changing body. I am not this processed food that I call body. Isn't it a processed food? That it is whatever pizza or whatever you have eaten, a sandwich you have eaten, that has become the body. And if you are told, hey, you are that piece of pizza, you will shudder. No, I am not that. But that is what I am, just processed. If I consider myself body, then what am I? It is just that. I may be jumping about, I may be solving many mathematical riddles, I may be giving big lectures, but if my awareness is I am body, then I am just food, that's it. That is why in Vedantic discussion that is called Annamaya Kosha. It is a covering, Kosha is a covering made of food. Just as this is the covering. Do you see? Will you call your shirt as you? Certainly not. It is a covering made of cotton or wool or whatever, that is that covering made of that. So inside that there is another covering that we call body. It is covering made of food. That's about it. I am not that. This understanding starts coming to us. gradually. And this is where this human spatial feature starts manifesting. That you therefore say, who am I then? And thus you start finding the answer for it. That I am pure consciousness. If I am not body, just see, that is where human, intellect then steps in. That you see something and then you derive logical conclusions from that. I was reading a book in the plane today, and then it told that we share 99.4 to 5% of our these neurons, our brain structure with chimpanzee. So we are only about 0.5% or 0.6%. It is different from a chimpanzee. Other parts, it is this brain is very similar, not much different. But what is that 0.5%? It is that is where you see that this question, this quest starts manifesting. It is so many layers of the brain matter has been piled on it. It is very similar to our computers that we use, and the most latest say system that you buy, maybe what is it, say Windows 10 or 12, what is it, the latest, Windows 31. I have not heard. Okay, that is, you are making that, okay. Okay. So now how does it? All these, the previous, the basic layers are there from say last 60, 70 years. That on those layers you keep on adding a little bit new structure. That's all. The other basic things, they are supporting that. And we have, human brains have that, all the basic structure shared by right from mice and chimpanzee and whatever it is. A little bit is added on it, and then we are human beings, you see. So it is, where lies that speciality? Is in this quest that I am not this body. And then that means I have no birth as such. The body had birth. I didn't have any birth. I have no death either. I have no gender either. Male, female and so forth. I am none of that. When that awakening comes, therefore that hymn, famous hymn of Shankaracharya, goes like that, that mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. I am neither the mind. They are the next steps. I am not the intellect also. I am not the various organs like eyes and ears and the organ of taste. I am none of these. I am the consciousness, existence, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. I am the infinite blissful awareness. That is what I am. Now, as this understanding comes, the process begins more intensely to realize this understanding and experience. Conversion of this understanding into experience. And as it starts happening, the Kundalini is described to rise from the level of heart. When it comes to that description, is when it comes to the level of throat, then it has achieved a big milestone. It is just for description, it is like when you climb to a big high peak. You get to the base camp and then okay, we have made up to this. And then you recuperate yourself, take some rest, take the other necessary supplies, and then move forward. So it's a stage. So this stage is described that now you have got a conviction. It is an understanding and conviction are different things. You understand, yes, I am not body. Is there a conviction about it? Well, it's doubtful whether there is a conviction of it. But I have an understanding of it. This understanding changes into conviction. So this is how, in between all this, the changes from understanding to conviction, our perceptions change. And Sri Ramakrishna, who could go up and down from between all these levels, used to get so many different perceptions. That is called darshana, samadhi and bhava. Bhava means you identify with that particular level of awareness. Now that is called, it is bhava. That it is like I am identified with the body. That is the bhava. Since it is a very basic and base awareness, it doesn't get that title. But when you get to something higher than that, different from that, then that is called bhava. Now you are in that particular bhava, particular mood. So we get into that bhava, all of us at times, but it is, we call them moods. It is, we are sometimes moody. So therefore, we ourselves become aware. Hey, don't talk to me today. I am in a very bad mood. That is a bhava, So that is not that I am always like that, but at this moment, somehow or other, something had happened, and so I am in a bad mood. Or I am in a very hilarious mood. I hit a jackpot. So it is, what will happen, Punita? If you hit a jackpot, hey, so she will be looking also different, otherwise weighed by so many problems. Swami, what to tell you and all that. It is, but if she gets the good news, that is actually the meaning of this word gospel is good news. It is, if she gets the good news that she is getting $5 million, then her face also will change. The whole demeanor will change. She will call friends and tell, what to speak of my luck, it is, I thought that I was born unlucky. The other day I had a big fight with my neighbor. Say it is, but see the luck, my stars have started smiling at me. So mood, you see. But this is not something that is of a much different level per se. Still, it becomes the mood, but you still consider yourself as body. Instead of, not a millionaire Punita, it becomes a millionaire Punita. That's the only difference, that's it, not much of a difference. So, it is, and that also changes. That from next day she will start getting so many calls and visitations, and she will find that she has so many relatives and friends who never existed before to ask for money. So it is so she will feel that, well, I was much better off without hitting that lottery. So that is not really a change of awareness. I am just telling these incidents that to show that we also get into a different bhava. In the spiritual sense, this bhava is when our awareness changes to something that is not connected with this particular body. Then it is, in that spiritual sense, it is a bhava. So let us read regarding the visions that occur in each center of Kundalini as it rose through the Sushumna channel. The Master said, Vedanta speaks of 7 places, in each of which the aspirant has a particular kind of vision. The human mind has a natural tendency to continue its activities to the 3 lower centers, the regions of the anus, the genitals, and the navel, and therefore is content with the satisfaction of eating, dressing, coition, and so forth. That is what okay, fine. And our discussion also at normal level, when you see 10 people meet in some kind of a party or program, that is where all the discussion revolves. Hey, where did you buy this dress? You look so nice in this dress, and so forth. That becomes so it is true that the discussion just revolves in these planes. So that is why there are so many, I don't want to get into the details of that. The research of Sigmund Freud into how the human psyche tends to, just be revolving around that, what he calls libido. So, it is these are the 3 lower chakras, lower centers of the Kundalini. If the mind transcends these 3 centers and reaches the 4th, the one near the heart, the aspirant sees a divine light. The mind may sometimes reach the heart center, but then descend to the 3 lower centers. However, when the mind comes to the 5th center near the throat, the aspirant cannot speak of mundane things. He or she talks about God only. While I was in this state, if anybody spoke of worldly things before me, I would feel as though I were being struck violently on the head. I would run away to the Panchavati. There is a tree there. It is very much similar to what you see there. Pancha, where Sri Ramakrishna used to perform lot of spiritual practices. So he would just run there just to avoid hearing secular talk. I would hide fearfully at the sight of worldly minded people. Relatives appeared to me to be on the edge of a yawning chasm, trying to push me down into it. See, that is how so much of change happens. Otherwise, my so and so, my sister is coming, so you become elated. I will be meeting her, and then we will do so many things. You start planning that when I am going to take her to Niagara and so forth, It is, with Sri Ramakrishna, it is all different. Now I will be probably dragged into this worldly awareness. I don't want to get there. So it becomes very difficult. I would hide fearfully at the sight of worldly minded people. Relatives appear to me to be on the edge of a yawning chasm, trying to push me down into it, and there would be no escape if once I fell. In their presence I felt suffocated, almost to the point of death, and found relief only when I fled from them. That actually happens, friends. That it is, one starts feeling that here I am going to get sucked into this so-called, what can be called, worldly awareness, the awareness of I am this body and all this world. I am going to keep on chasing for aeons, this kind of awareness, and one feels very scared of this awareness. You feel as if you are being pushed. You are infinite, but you are pushed into this terrible cell, a dark cell of this body, this prison. So you feel scared. It is how much torture one suffers being caught in this body. We do not realize that. But when that awareness comes, you really feel that no, I don't want to get into that again. So, and found relief only when I fled from there. Even from this throat center, a person may slip down to the three lower centers. So one should remain vigilant. This is all Sri Ramakrishna is describing. That the conviction is there, but still it is not a complete safety from the pulls of the lower centers. One should still be very vigilant. It is because even though there is conviction, there is no perception of it, no realization of it. And therefore, although it is a big step from understanding to conviction, but yet there too the forces of the lower three centers keep on working, and one may slip into that. So therefore one must be very vigilant. See, Sri Ramakrishna is describing all these things. But if one's mind reaches the sixth center between the eyebrows, there is no more fear of falling. And he had described what that sixth center, what the vision at that sixth center is. Our corporeal identity is completely effaced now. You see God. It is, you feel that identity with the divine presence. It is now not just a matter of conviction, but the matter of perception. It is real now. It is not that, yes, like one may feel convinced that I will be able to do that. It is a conviction. But you may be able to do, you may not be able to do. So conviction is very different from realization. It is a big step from just superficial feeling or understanding. You are now convinced, but then still one may fall down. Now it is that you are seeing God. At the sixth center, Sri Ramakrishna describes there is only a thin, transparent, thin layer between you and God. Imagine that level of perception. Just a thin, transparent layer. Now your identity is completely transformed. Now there is no that chance of falling down to the lower three centers. It is, but it is not a matter of faking. That anybody may say that yes, I am at the sixth center. It is not matter of just saying that, okay, I had a vision, now I am in the sixth center. It is, this should be the that stage where you are seeing God and nothing else. That so it is. The aspirant then attains the vision of Paramatman, the Supreme Self, and remains always in Samadhi. There is only a thin veil, as transparent as glass, between this center and the Sahasrara, the 1,000-petal lotus at the crown of the head. The Supreme Self is then so close that one can imagine oneself merged in it. But that is not the case. From this state the mind can come down to the fifth or at most to the fourth center, but not below. However, ordinary aspirants classed as jivas cannot return from this state. After remaining constantly in samadhi for 21 days, they break that thin veil and become one with Brahman forever. This eternal union of the Jiva and Brahman in the Sahasrara is known as reaching the seventh plane. These are actually very mystical, experiential things described in human language. By reading these, we will get only a very hazy, unclear understanding. But as one evolves in the practice of these disciplines and starts experiencing some of these, one can actually see this. And therefore, previously also I have mentioned that Sri Ramakrishna would say that a jiva means an embodied being, can rise and get to that level through the stint of spiritual practice and divine grace, but then will not be able to come back. Within 21 days the body will fall. And the reason also was described that our nervous system is not made to carry that tremendous currents of universal awareness. That is why we will not be able to do that. So it is, and after that I had explained that, one devotee told me, Swami, I don't want to experience samadhi right now because then I will have to die in 21 days. Then I will die in 21 days. Therefore, I don't want that samadhi right now. So, it is whether you want or you don't want. If there is this kind of idea, then you are not going to get that unless you transcend that idea. It is therefore very important to see that how these various stages come. If sometimes as we listen to the master discuss the Vedas, Vedanta and the science of yoga, some of us would ask him, "Sir, you have never cared for reading books. How do you know all these things?" A very good question. You never cared for reading the books. Our idea is that the more we read, the more we know. The fact is that the more we read, more we get confused. It is not that we always know more by reading more. It is the question of assimilation. Somebody has written that, and that person's awareness, that is what we are taking in. So it is not that we have to read all that. Ordinarily, because we do not know, we need to collect the information, we have no other way but to read it. But that is a very, very slow process of learning. Since, for example, if you want to get from here to say Australia, I want to go to Sydney. Then you can go by a supersonic plane, and you may reach, maybe in a few hours you will reach Sydney. But if you do not have a supersonic plane, then what do? Okay, let me take a hopping ordinary flights and then get there. You may take say a day or so. If you think that, well, I will walk where there is water, I will use a canoe and then go, remaining way I will walk. It will take months to get there, if at all you get. It will take months. So therefore, when a person like me has to get knowledge, I have to use what the other people have written and read the books and thus learn about it. But for Sri Ramakrishna, it is absolutely unnecessary. It is exactly similar to what I was telling, that if you have a supersonic jet to get to Sydney, then you don't have to worry that where I will be halting in the middle and so forth. Reading the books, see, when you read, just see how cumbersome and terribly convoluted the whole process is. That somebody has certain knowledge. That knowledge has been converted into thought. That has been converted into words. Now those words are written, then according to the convenience of the publisher and the editor and all that, that has come into book. And then in between, say, many years have passed, the meaning of many of those words also have changed in between. Now Yogatmananda takes that book, reads. Now what am I doing? I am just reversing the process from these pictures. The script is a picture after all. From that picture I am converting it into sound. From that sound I am converting it into words. From that words now I am converting into the meaning, and there is a gap between the intended meaning of the author and the meaning that I have got in my mind. So, and then from that I try to get the knowledge that original writer had. It is such a cumbersome process. Please don't get me wrong. I don't say so don't read books. No, we have no other way. So let us read the books. But then let us see this fact also, that there are, when your awareness changes, you don't need to read so many books. One starts experiencing those things gradually. That yes, when you read the book, then you find that what you already know has been written in those books. It is therefore these were all the college going students then. Swami Saradananda, Sharat, and Naren, and like Gangadhar, that is Swami Akhandananda. So Swami Saradananda says that we asked this question. This strange question did not disturb the master. He would reply with a smile, "It is true that I have not read that then myself, but I have heard a lot and I remember everything. I have heard the Vedas, Vedanta, Puranas and philosophy from good and scholarly pundits. After hearing then and learning all they contained, I have made a garland of the scriptures and put it around the neck, put it around my neck and offered it to the Divine Mother, saying, please take your scriptures and Puranas and grant me pure devotion." So this is, at that stage, you do not need these books and such stuff, you see. It is all secondary, meaningless. So this is, we shall continue the study of this. Already more time has gone. But then this non-dual state described in the Vedas, that will be the next Tuesday's discussion, that the non-duality between in the whole existence is where we come to the experience of the ultimate bliss and ultimate freedom, ultimate simplicity. That is the non-dual experience. It is a matter of perception, that where you see that example. I like the animal crackers. The animal crackers, when you look at the particular shapes, then there are many. This is elephant, this is goat, that is lion, and all that. But when you look at the essence, Ritu, then what is it? All one, non-dual. They are all one and the same. So, that experience where everything is seen as non-dual, the differences, they all vanish, and yet if you want to see, they are there. It's a very difficult to describe state. So we shall see how Sri Ramakrishna is telling that and relating it to his own experience. So, any questions? Yes, Charlie?
Interesting that Sri Ramakrishna said that his relatives were like poison, but after he passed away, Holy Mother spent a lot of her time with close relatives. And why didn't she have devotees that she could stay with more so than her family?
Hey, very good question. And see, the state that Sri Ramakrishna was mentioning was the state when he was doing these spiritual practices. He was telling the experiences of that state. As staying in Dakshineshwar, later on you will see that his nephews, they were staying there, his mother was staying there, he was in fact so devoted to his mother, and so forth. I mean, these the relatives were staying with him. It is a state of feeling that connectedness with that was changing, that instead of seeing that these are mine, now that sense has been transcended. As to Holy Mother again, now she was staying with devotees and she was staying with her relatives too. And there were two reasons for that, as we understand. The first reason is to show that how, in spite of so many problems of domestic household life, one can still hold on to this spiritual awareness. It is, had there been no Holy Mother, we would have got lot of, excuses. The Vishwanath would have said then, it is impossible that, had I become a monk, that would have been possible, but having married and all that, now I have to be, in that household things. But Holy Mother showed that no, that's not necessary at all. You can be in the midst of all these and yet firmly hold on to your spiritual identity. That was one aspect of it, one purpose to show this. Secondly, her immense power of divine awareness made no distinction at all. It is thirdly, that was the reason that provided her a reason to be in the body. That is why there was a vision. Sri Ramakrishna brings that very problematic child, Radhu. It's a great episode in her life. You must have read it, Charlie. Now that Radhu, she was brought, and Sri Ramakrishna said that this is your bondage. With the help of this you will live in the world. Otherwise it would have been impossible for us to live amongst us. She would have escaped long back. There is no body awareness, it is like one day it is described that when she was meditating and then as if she fell asleep and then she asks, waking up, where are my hands, where are my feet, and so forth. Where are they? As if now they are to be fitted and then acted in, It is like a person going to act in a particular role, say going to become the Prince of Denmark. Where is my crown? Where are my where is my attire? So where are my hands? Where are my feet? So that is how that her awareness is. So therefore there in that state that provides some kind of a link with this world, because of which she could remain amongst us. Therefore, when she during the last days she kind of became indifferent to Radhu, then Swami Saradananda, author of this book, and the attendant to Holy Mother, said, well, when Radhu also is not being now cared for, it is impossible to hold Holy Mother down to this earth anymore. So that was that awareness of Holy Mother. So let us conclude with the closing prayers. One announcement that this coming Saturday there will be the spiritual retreat given by Swami Chetanananda, a very senior and highly learned monk of our order, and his topic is an interesting topic, the stories of the Vedanta monks. It is, monks are kind of, somewhat on bordering the lunacy, half lunatic. So the stories are quite interesting, that it is how the monks, Vedanta monks are. So it will be an interesting retreat. If you want to attend, please register before it gets filled. I think most of you here have already registered. So this need not be, this announcement is meaningless, but yet I am doing my duty, you see. So it is, did you register? Richard, just now? Few minutes ago. Okay, very good, very good. You couldn't resist. Good. Yes. One need not resist these things, There are many other things to resist. So let me conclude with the closing prayers. You know, Richard, many other things to resist, isn't it? You know many other things that you would have been better off resisting. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace be unto all.